We have some fun debates that are planned for the four of us. And we decided that in the spirit of these debates, we're going to keep them as fun and as lighthearted as possible. I also would like to
I don't know. I'm personally in it for blood.
So. Oh, you're in it? All right. Okay.
It's going to be vicious.
I'm a little scared. I'm not going to lie. She's let me off easy a couple of times. So, let's see. Our very first question here.
All right. You ready for this, y'all? Okay.
This is something that Crystal came up with.
Okay, go ahead and put this first one up on the screen. So, okay, listen. Kyle and I...
It's a good question.
It's a great question.
Let me explain. So, Kyle and I in particular have debated whether Trump or DeSantis is more likely to be the GOP nominee like 8,000 times. The four of us have debated it maybe like 800 times. And so we're like, all right, well... If we put Trump and DeSantis to the side, out of the equation, then who? Maybe that's an interesting thing to talk about. So theoretically, if Trump and Ron DeSantis both drop dead, then who is going to be the GOP nominee? Marshall, what do you think?
That's so unfair to start with me.
All right.
But
you're on the spot, man.
There's no cowardice tonight.
That's right.
Instant reaction, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That's a good one.
That's a spicy one. I like it.
Here's the thing. This has to be judged by what would happen. Because the key thing is there's a big article in Politico, I think yesterday, talking about how very few GOP candidates have jumped into the race because they're like, look, it's this versus this. We can't possibly win. So if the two of them were to both die... within the same period in this
scenario. They're both on Air Force One. That's what happens.
Well, no. What happened is they shot down the Chinese balloon, and the debris took them both out.
They shot it over Florida.
No, that's...
took them both out.
One hits Tallahassee, the other hits Mar-a-Lago.
Well, what would happen is you would have 50 candidates in the race. Right. You would have 0.01% for Marco Rubio, 0.02% for Josh Hawley, blah, 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 blah. Marjorie Taylor Greene wins it with 8%. She is now going against Joe Biden. That's the math.
Yeah. Hey, she's from Georgia. That's a critical swing state.
And she has a high power level. She's aggressive, kind of weirdly charismatic. There's something there.
That's true.
But let me push you on this because I feel like we should, I should give you some pushback.
Hold me accountable.
Okay. So she's having this whole fight now with Lauren Boebert. They had this split, and she sided with McCarthy in the speaker fight. Doesn't that make her sort of like an establishment cuck now?
But that's the point. This is my take though, and I'm barely even joking here. Like when I saw her throw, actually almost called Taylor Lorenz, but when I saw her throw Lauren Boebert over the side of the ship, I was like, oh shoot! Like she sees the opening. She sees that the center of gravity of the party is completely shifted, and I'm stuck with this C-lister category grifter, and I need to like move up from that. So she threw over to the side, and there's a space for like, I'm a Republican and I'm a cuck, and that's something.
I like it. Should we go to Kyle next?
Yeah. What do you think?
I want to go last.
So my two answers are...
One.
I'm giving two, sorry. Mike Pence, number one.
No, not a chance.
Yeah, no, look, in every single poll behind Trump and DeSantis is Mike Pence, and he's kind of like solidly in third place.
We'll get there. All right.
We are going to get there.
Hold that, sir.
And the other one is, bear with me, y'all, Ted Cruz.
Ooh. Hey, what are you complaining about? He's your senator.
Texans aren't having it.
You voted for him.
Excuse me. Yeah, that is true. You did.
It's on you.
Who was the closest to Trump in 2016 by far?
He's right.
I am right. So look, I'm a guy, I like empirical evidence, and when I look at the evidence, Mike Pence is a solid third behind Trump and DeSantis, and then Ted Cruz came closest to Trump the last time. There's nothing about these people that I find appealing, but what I find appealing doesn't matter. I'm not the voter in the Republican primary, and I think those guys are the only ones. And people will vote for them in the same way that Democrats voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Like,
wait, but they didn't vote for her.
But they're going to do that. No, I'm saying the question is the primary, Sagar. The question is the primary. So it'll be holding your nose and voting for one of those two.
Okay, but here's my empirical evidence. Ted Cruz has a really hateable, punchable face.
Yeah, but he did. Excuse me. Hold on. He has always had a punchable face, and he did when he came in second to Trump in 2016, and that didn't stop him. Maybe Republican primary voters love
was before
a
Cancun,
punchable
Kyle.
face. They love a little
Cancun
weasel
was a real
boy.
turning point.
So Kyle, the problem with this metric, though, like I get the empirics, I get the numbers, the polls. You're violating the #1 rule since 2015, which is that the least likely thing always happens.
Yes.
Least likely thing: Donald Trump enters. Donald Trump wins. Least likely thing, if it's 2019, Joe Biden's going to be president? Like what? Joe Biden's now the president. Least likely thing.
Yeah.
We all said during our live show,
Yeah.
Democrats do better in the midterms. Least likely. You've picked
According-
the two most likely answers.
Oh, I like that.
The crowd thinks the least likely thing is Ted Cruz winning. So
They are
apparently,
sheep
by your
so
own
they don't
metric, I'm right. By your
All right,
own
but hold
metric,
on.
I'm right.
Hold on, we're letting Mike.
I'm
Pence,
liking this.
We're letting Mike Pence off the hook here.
That's true.
Who just came out for privatizing Social Security, which I feel like even in a Republican primary is not.
And he wants to ban all abortion, you know? But look, Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum, when they ran, they won Iowa both respectively. Like, we're talking about, there's some questionable things going on in a Republican primary. I mean, I think that those two are the only ones that really have
But
a
you know,
prayer.
some people are like 10% kind of people. Like that's where he sort of sits in the polls right now. He's like at 10%. I sort of feel like that's a floor and a ceiling for Mike Pence.
Well, I
you
mean,
know,
look,
some people are just like,
I like
this is
that.
what they
I would
got.
say
This
we'll
is
see.
it. It's not going to grow. It doesn't matter who's in the race, who's not in the race. It's 10%.
I would say we'll see, but obviously both these two are not going to croak. So,
Well, you don't know.
One of them might.
Least likely.
early
One
in
of
the
them
cycle.
might.
Crystal, what do
and
you
it ain't
got?
DeSantis.
All right. Mine is a little more in the vein of Marshall, which is I'm going with Don Jr.
Ooh.
That's right. That's right.
I like this one.
That's right. Well, you got to think
That's
of
a good
it.
one.
I gamed this out kind of the way Marshall did. Marshall was like, there's going to be 1 million people in the race. True. But you're going to have Donald Trump will have just died, the former leader of the GOP. There's going to be all sorts of eulogies.
He's
and
never going to
propping
die,
this
actually.
man
He's never
up.
dying. He's never going to
True.
die.
Most likely.
But there's going to be all sorts of an outpouring of grief and oh my God, and people are going to remember how they're going to like totally misremember and think he was really amazing and great and oh my God, we miss him so much. And Don Jr. is there to pick up the baton, and he's shown an ability to, like, you know, ride a social media outrage wave. He's great at triggering the libs. So I'm going DJT.
I can't sign on to this one.
Whatever.
I like
You
it
guys
as an
know what I
answer. I just think political talent does have some, area
I
here.
feel like he has
And-
some political talent.
I don't
People
see it.
fucking love that guy. Like, not a lot of
Yeah.
people, but
Cocaine
some
dealers
people
love that
fucking
guy.
love that guy. Some people love that guy.
It's possible. Maybe I'm too jaded.
He and
I don't
Kim
know.
are going to do a bunch of coke. They're going to go across the country.
It worked for
Endless
Hunter.
energy.
All right. I'll give mine.
Yeah, who do
so
you got,
I've been
Sutter?
holding this. Hear me out. Sarah Palin. Here's why. Trump before Trump, she invented it. She created the space. GOP loves an identity politics candidate, Sarah Palin. We have a female who is running. She's got a great national profile already. We had a couple grifter scandals that happened there in Alaska, but it doesn't stop anybody from being president. And she is beloved by a lot of people in the GOP base, and I could see her becoming a consensus pick. So I'm ready for everybody's.
Consensus pick.
I'm ready for everybody's pushback.
2011 CNN wants its take back.
Oh!
That's my response to you on that one.
She
I think
couldn't
Sarah Palin can do it.
She couldn't even win a congressional seat in Alaska.
It was ranked choice voting. Yeah, it was ranked choice
Thank you.
voting.
Twice. The lady who won, though, I loved. She had her like tagline. She was like, pro this, pro that, pro fish. That was the lady that won. She like really leaned hard into being
Alaska,
pro
man.
fish.
It's a
and
crazy place.
it was very regionally distinct. I appreciated that. So I don't
All
know.
right.
What do you guys think? We'll do a little audience
live poll.
Audience live poll so we can declare a winner here. Like I said, I'm out for blood tonight. All right. Which one are you going? You can't pick two. You got to pick
Oh,
one.
come on.
Ted,
Come
he's
on.
got Ted. Stick with it.
No, I said
Yeah.
Pence first. I'm going Pence
All right,
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who thinks if Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis die, that it would be Mike Pence? Let's hear a round of applause.
That's not bad, Kyle. That's more than I would have given you.
The person who goes first is always at a disadvantage,
true.
by the way. That
Oh,
is true.
sorry,
I'm going to
babe.
get
All right.
smoked right in the next one. Watch.
Let me go with Marshall next. Who thinks it will be Marjorie Taylor Greene? Oh, you made a persuasive case.
Oh, you guys are all
advantage.
high.
Marshall's
Hometown
in the
advantage.
lead. All right. Who is buying my Donald Trump Jr. theory?
See? It just goes in order.
That's pretty good.
They just cheer louder no matter who's next, no matter what. That's how these things work.
They all hated
jealous.
mine. They all hated mine.
All
Just wait
right.
for this.
And who thinks it's going to be Sarah Palin?
No.
Brutal.
They really didn't like
Well-
that.
I think Crystal wins.
I hate to declare myself the winner.
All
right,
but I
Crystal's
think I
the
am
winner.
the winner.
All right, let's go to the next one, gentlemen.
You're going to be shocked at what the next one is.
This is actually far more likely. So I'm just saying, I don't
This
wish
one
it to
has a
happen. You look at an actuarial table, it's not so good.
Yeah, and something about I don't know. It does sort of feel like Trump is never going to go away, doesn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, so who runs if Biden dies? All right. So this is the one. Let's see. Who should we start with?
What?
this
You
time?
start. You went last time. You start.
I think I have to go with Gavin Newsom, and I hate it. I didn't listen. I don't
Quick
want it to
question.
happen.
Is
Yes.
this who wins the Democratic nomination?
Yes.
Nomination,
Yes.
yes.
Okay,
Nomination.
Nomination.
Okay.
I think Gavin's been setting him up, setting himself up for a while. He's got a built-in advantage because he's literally the governor of the most populous state. The donors love him. From the wine cave, the whole French Laundry thing. Gavin Newsom actually owned part of the wine cave. A lot of people don't talk about that. I actually think he's probably a better politician than Pete. Not saying much. Whether he's better at his job, I don't know about that either. I just think that given the lack of political talent with Kamala, that it's got to be one of the up-and-comers. I don't think any of the other governors has a chance. And I think Gavin, as much as it would pain me, especially to see that hairline and all that on
Dude
my
looks
television
like a
screen.
vampire, right?
He does look like a vampire. It's also crazy that he was married to Don Jr.'s wife.
To Kim
Yeah.
Guilford.
How
Don Jr.
fucking
wins
insane
no
is
matter
that?
what. That's the key thing. We're doing.
And also, Gavin Newsom deals Don Jr. his coke.
Little known fact. Little
Now
known
you can
fact.
see. He's buying it straight from the source. All right, Crystal, you go next.
All right. Well, I really despise myself for saying this,
I know what
but
she's gonna say.
I gotta say Pete.
Oh!
Yeah. God, he's-
No, come on.
I know. It's
Have you guys been
terrible.
on an airplane? Stop fucking cheering.
It's terrible.
Do you have any idea what it's like out there?
But like, okay, this isn't about anyone actually wanting that man to be anywhere close to the presidency. It's just about the way that I think the party would rig the process. They know Kamala is a disaster. They will figure out some way to get around Kamala. And Pete is such a climber, man, and the donor set loves that dude, loves him. They're already, I mean, behind the scenes leaking negative stories to the media about Kamala, creating friction between like Biden and the New Hampshire Democratic. I mean, they are out there working and planting the seeds, and he's got the money and the donor class behind him. They feel very comfy with him being a bridge to neoliberalism now, neoliberalism forever. So I think it would be Pete.
All right.
I'm going Marianne Williamson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look. Honestly,
That sounds like a hopeful answer,
Listen,
but not
listen.
likely.
There's the analytics on that
I was gonna say Newsom, but you said Newsom first.
Okay, all right.
And so the smart money is on Newsom, in my opinion.
All right.
Kamala, no. Pete, no. But Marianne Williamson, imagine her versus Biden in a primary. We get closer and closer to the election. Biden croaks. Marianne is the only one in the race. Then they scramble behind the scenes, and you got Pete and you got Kamala, and they all jump in, but Marianne Williamson already built up a base of support. And so she ends up getting across the finish line.
They would rig it against her 100%. They do a broker convention before that was
Well,
gonna happen.
look, I mean, if Trump...
There would be full superdelegate shit.
If Trump can slip through on the Republican side, I will hold out hope for Marianne to slip through on the Democratic side. You got to have some
He's a
hope.
bold man.
Somebody has to pick up that Bernie Sanders torch and get that movement energy back, and she's the only one in the conversation for that right now.
Fair enough. Marshall, what do you got?
I am genuinely shocked at how wrong you guys are. Because seriously, it's obvious. I mean, like, who runs if Biden dies? So it's not who runs and wins if Biden makes an announcement that he's sick or he's not in it or going to resign. It's actually we wake up one day in 2023 and President Biden has passed away. Obviously, Kamala would become the nominee because what you're going to have happen is Kamala is then president automatically. the notion that what you're going to have happen is they're like, oh, by the way, the Democratic Party, the person who we had be our vice president and now president is actually not chill. So let's have them not run and have like Pete or Marianne come from nowhere. So it's Kamala. Kamala loses, but the Democrats say Kamala's going to lose. Let's hold our House losses to a minimum and not get wrecked too hard in the Senate and give up.
But
Marshall, we were just talking from a place of hope, not from a place of reality.
But
we weren't ready to resign ourselves.
I'm gonna make a case that's not just based on like hopium. Okay, so already Biden and Kamala together, very weak ticket. You already have 66% of Democrats saying we really wish you wouldn't run again. We'd really like to have another choice. Okay, so already very weak. Biden dies. There's going to be an open the floodgates moment in terms of Democrats getting into that primary. They're all staying out now, like all the elected politicians, because you've got an incumbent president. I really don't think Kamala's a strong enough candidate to keep that field clear. So she would have to run against a field. She'd have to go through a primary. We all know how that went for her last time.
She dropped out before Iowa, before the first
Correct.
one.
And because she was going to lose her own home state of California, so I don't think it's going to work out for her.
I would
They
pay
could Jimmy Carter her.
I would pay $100 to see Pete Buttigieg in front of the camera arguing that the first black woman president should not win re-election. I would actually. Pete's a good press secretary. Like, I think he has the talent to do it.
I think he could come.
You think he could do it? He could say it with straight face.
Yeah, he could.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and he would. I mean, he could work his own trailblazing status. You know, in there, he'd have Chast on stage with him.
Yeah, that's true.
He could sell it. He's got his own identity.
Photos from his time off.
Identity card he can play, Marshall. So he'll figure it out.
I think
he'll figure that shit out.
All right, let's poll the crowd. All right, we will start with me first. First mover disadvantage. Gavin Newsom. Cheer if you think that's me. Better than last time. Okay, Marianne Williamson.
Nice. By the way, I'd be happy to lose this one, guys.
Kamala.
Okay, solid.
Pete Buttigieg. I don't know. That's a close one.
I think it's either me or you.
All right, let's do it again just between the two of us.
Okay.
I think you got it, actually, but we'll do it. We'll narrow it down.
If I did, I just edged it.
All right, so who says it would be Marianne Williamson? And who says it would be Pete motherfucking Buttigieg? Think that's you?
Me, I think.
I'm going Marianne. I would rather it be Marianne.
We're going with hope,
that.
people. Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
At least you could fly again.
Beautiful.
Okay. All right. Go.
Somebody said Biden's corpse. I think Biden's corpse would win.
I thought
Weekend
somebody
at Biden's.
Wait, did I hear Hunter Biden?
No, Weekend at Biden's.
Oh.
Weekend at Biden's.
He wouldn't pass a background check,
Hunter would be
folks.
awesome. By the way, low key, he could do it. Take his dick out on stage at a debate. People are like, oh! All right, vote for him.
It wouldn't be shocking. We've already seen it.
Yeah,
so.
so true.
Yes, Weekend at Brandon's. I like that.
There you go. I like it.
Shout out to you, sir.
All right. So we have another little hypothetical here. This one is a little more grounded in reality.
Yes, this is a real one.
This doesn't depend on anyone's untimely death.
No one needs to die.
All right. So the question on this one is, let's go ahead and assume Trump is the Republican nominee. I know this is very contested. There's a primary. Ron DeSantis. Kyle thinks whatever. Differing opinions about who's going to win. But we're going to assume Trump wins the Republican nomination. Who this time around is he going to pick as his vice presidential nominee? I think we all pretty confident it's not going to be Mike Pence this time around, given the whole, letting people say they were going to murder him in the Capitol. It's probably
Usually a deal breaker.
Usually a deal breaker, but you never know. Anyway, let us start. Let's see. We'll start with you this time,
let me start this one.
Go ahead.
Kristi Noem. I think it's going to be. She's auditioning for it hard. She's attacking DeSantis. She's one of the only Republicans attacking DeSantis right now. She's young. She's a woman. Trump wants to sleep with her. All these things, put them together, and I think it's going to be Kristi Noem. I know you guys said don't give two answers. I have to give one more, though. Tim Scott is the backup.
No! That was
Come on!
Yeah,
Fair, Kyle.
So, look,
fair. fair.
All I'll say, Kristi Noem's number one. I'll take Kristi Noem, but he's gonna want to play some sort of identity game where he goes, look, I got a woman. Don't you guys like women? Don't we want a woman with me?
I love women.
Or look, I got a black guy. He's black. I like black people. I don't know what the problem is.
Could see that happening.
Marshall, you are.
I have been run over by a Kyle.
I'm going Kristi. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can take Tim Scott.
What am I? No, this is good. Like gut reaction. It's hard because like originally I like how Carrie Lake's up there because because that was the take. If it was November, I remember we said this.
Yeah, I said that
on our live stream, which we were wrong about pretty much everything.
That's a tradition.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Who would it be? I think. You know what? I think Nikki. I'll be obvious. I think Nikki Haley's kind of throwing it out there.
Yeah, because she's first. Yeah, she's going to announce next week.
She's first.
We'll
She's going to be. She's going to be nice to everybody. She's good friends with Jared. I think this is a thing.
Do you think he can get over, though, her disloyalty in daring to run against him?
Everyone's been disloyal to Trump once. Like Lindsey Graham is like disloyal to Trump like every other week, and it basically doesn't matter. They'll go golfing. It will all be chill. Like it's actually. I think. Well, here's a question. What is the line for Trump of disloyalty?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's probably like no. It's DeSantis actually running and thinking he could win.
Right.
So it's like he won't care if it's a fake run.
Right.
He won't care if it's an audition.
Right.
Like we all know we'll be winking at each other, but it's probably a real run.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true.
What?
The thing, like, it's whatever happens in the moment, Trump gives his instinctual reaction to it. There is no, like, you have to go this far to cross the line. It's just, if you're mean to him in that very moment, he's like, I hate this guy. I want to kill this guy.
He can get over it, but you have to kiss his ass. And that's the question. She's been disloyal to him a couple of times.
She's
Can
definitely.
she come back?
But then she
She's
comes back and
definitely-
kisses ass.
Right.
She's definitely willing to kiss the ring. I will give you that.
Okay.
I think so.
I can
think
see it.
so.
Clearly, they all are. I mean, at some point,
Yeah, but I mean, what would be unforgivable would make this question irrelevant, which is if you actually beat him for the nomination, then he would never get over it.
All right,
Don't you
do I
think?
have to go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. I'm struggling with this one. I think I might have to give two. Okay. I still think it might be Carrie Lake. I hate to say it.
my
I
God.
still think it might be Carrie
Just
Lake.
lean into it. Make a hard
Okay,
argument
here's
for it.
why. Here's why. Trump loves this woman. She basically lives at Mar-a-Lago, not in Arizona. Every time that you see her, she's like dancing at some gala in Mar-a-Lago. All of her tweets about like actually how she won in Arizona are all literally from Florida. It's not even where she is. She has crawled up his ass so far. At the very least, she is actually genuinely pretty good at what she does. Not good enough to win the gubernatorial election, don't get me wrong, but that has never put Trump past it. I could see him picking her simply because she is so. There was a good clip when he was talking to Blake Masters, who also lost his Senate run, and he was like, "You need to be more like Carrie." All she says is she says three things: 1, 2, and the election was stolen. Why don't you take that away from? He goes, "You got to be just like her." He was telling him he sucked because he wasn't saying the election was stolen enough. She's always willing to go full whatever he says. So I think that's what Trump values.
She said my second favorite man on earth is my husband. I'm not kidding. She literally said I like Donald Trump more than my husband.
That is.
He loves that.
That's
He does
next
love that.
level.
Yeah, he does
is
love that.
next fucking level. All right, so low key, I was gonna pick Kristi Noem, but I'll pick someone else because my future husband here picked her first. I do think there's a good case for Kristi Noem because she has clearly been playing the game with Trump. She's been like taking shots at DeSantis.
That's true.
In this like proxy war thing, especially about like she was the real COVID, open up the floodgates governor versus DeSantis was opposed or whatever. So I do think that there's probably a pretty good argument there. But let me make a case for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, so first of all, I feel like she has been trying to make herself at least mainstream enough to be partnered up with Donald Trump. There was a bit of like a face turn that she did in this McCarthy thing, and she went hard for him, and it demonstrated a sort of savviness and political ability to strategize that I didn't actually expect out of her. Clearly Trump loves her. Clearly she's got him on speed dial. He was calling her and she was like brokering things during all of that. So I'm going to go with Marjorie.
And now that there's a balloon, the space laser is incredibly important now.
What I love about what
That's a great point.
Crystal's entire case there was she's not as dumb as I thought she was.
It's true. That's true.
If you're
Like,
reading
well, and here's the thing is like, I don't think, in terms of political savvy, I don't think Donald Trump is a stupid person. Like, picking Mike Pence was actually a very savvy move at the time. It was a critical move at the time. He might not have won the presidency if he didn't pick Mike Pence, because it shored up a group that he needed to shore up. So if Marjorie was as dumb as I had thought that she was, I don't disrespect Donald Trump enough to think that he would pick her.
Trump doesn't know anything about a pivot, though. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to, like, pivot to be more moderate, like you're talking about. But the idea that Trump is, like, ideologically, like, testing them out, like, I don't know, you went a little bit too far to the right. I don't think he does that.
No, I wouldn't. That's not quite how I would put it. It's more of, like, she has to be not a ludicrous person to put on the ticket.
Too late.
Well, all right.
Like I said.
Should we take a vote?
Let's do it. All right, so first up, who thinks it will be Kristi Noem, governor of South Dakota?
Yeah,
Not bad.
All right.
I'm going to lose, but you guys are wrong.
All right, who thinks it's going to be Nikki Haley, former UN ambassador?
Not bad.
I'll take
Who
it.
thinks it's going to be Carrie Lake?
Oh.
Oh.
Interesting.
Thank you.
And who thinks it's going to be the space laser lady herself, Marjorie Taylor Greene? I think Sagar.
I think that's
Sagar
Carrie
got
Lake,
this
yeah.
one.
Well, it happens. I get to be right sometimes. Speaking of being right, and a very important topic that we thought we would bring to all of you, something very dear to my heart, something I find very important, which is the dress code of our politicians and our news anchors. So, I know that some of you actually showed up in suits tonight. Shout out to you gentlemen. I see one guy over here. I know I see a couple of suits that are out there. You guys look very spiffy. I love to see it. So we would put this together. I honestly just find it hilarious. Anytime I post or talk about how people should wear suits, people absolutely lose their shit in the comments. And I was like, this would be a fun one for the States. So
Sagar's very passionate about menswear.
as you can see,
He is.
and,
It's not really a joke.
everybody here is looking great tonight. All right, so should suits be mandatory? You could take a look at what we've got behind us. Don Lemon in a hoodie, John Fetterman in shorts.
Fact check, it wasn't a hoodie.
Oh, that's sorry.
It was a
sweater
that had a hood.
with a hood attached. As one refers to such a garment. All right, so do you think we should start with the pro case or the anti case first?
Sagar, you make
Okay.
your case. You
Okay,
feel so.
okay.
You should kick this one off.
I know that this is an unpopular opinion. I understand that. The most common response I get is, I don't care what the politician wears, I care what they do. And I agree. I care more about what they do than what they wear. That said, the reason why I think it is important is because I think a lot of these people are both doing jack shit and disrespecting you while they are at their jobs. So, when I see some fucking congressman wear a It's Miller Time t-shirt while voting for nothing, I'm like, you don't even have the dignity to put on a suit while you are not doing anything for your constituents. And I think it's part of a broader societal disrespect to every single one of you. For the fact is that these people have very cushy jobs. The truth is they don't really work that hard. And the very little that we could ask of them is to at least maintain decorum in the capital of the United States. So that is my case to all of you. That's my case.
All right. I motion we get a response from the man who's literally wearing slippers on
Wearing
stage.
a t-shirt.
I was actually going to say that as my opening line. I'm wearing slippers right now. So. Look, I don't care if they wear a diaper as long as they get me Medicare for all. So I really don't care. I mean, look, it's also kind of arbitrary and cultural based on the moment what is, quote unquote, dressing up. You know what I mean? It's
Okay, so do our togas. We'll switch it around. That's cool.
Yeah, togas
Right.
are cool and culturally appropriate.
Because no, because here's the key thing about our take. Our key thing about our take is everyone agrees here that politicians are narcissistic, and they're self-centered. There's now an incentive to become like a freaking podcaster.
Yes.
Like we literally, like I'm so happy I've forgotten his name. Who was that kid from North Carolina?
Madison Cawthorn.
Madison Cawthorn.
Yeah.
Madison Cawthorn was literally elected, and he said, quote, I'm only hiring comms people, not policy people, because he wanted to be famous. He was going to leave after a few terms. Yeah. So the reason why suits or any form of dress code, like people could honestly wear like gray sweatsuits, as long as there's something that says to people, like, there's something bigger than you, you may think you're special, but you're here for an institution that's bigger than yourself. Like, that's the key thing. And my other take is, guess what? Like, I would bet money that anyone who actually, like, wears a diaper isn't going to vote for Medicare for All, because they're probably going to be a weird narcissist. Like, that's why it's important that we talk about that, because, like, actual, like, normal people dress appropriately and act normal. And my other quick thing, and it gets to Don Lemon, because we've kind of been unfair to Don by putting him in the same category as the Capitol. The reason why Don Lemon's sweatshirt hoodie is a problem because it's dishonest. Like he's putting that on because he's trying to convince the young people that Don Lemon in his 50s is hip and cool, and he's with it, and it's the new CNN. It's dishonest. Wear a suit.
Yes.
Be here. Sorry,
it's also dishonest.
That's the point.
Plenty of people wear suits, and then they're slimy motherfuckers. So that's dishonest
Right.
also.
Well,
You're portraying yourself as, I'm very serious, and then you go take $1 million from Pfizer and you do their bidding. So it cuts both ways.
Right, that's right. I mean, in a sense, it's actually more dishonest to be like doing a shitty job and slacking off and being a piece of shit, but you're like dressed all spiffy, making it look respectable. That's actually more dishonest. Okay. The other thing I would say is the other person that we have up there on the screen, John Fetterman, was incredibly, like, yes, Don Lemon is an inauthentic piece of shit. John Fetterman is authentically who he is in his like basketball shorts when it's 20 degrees outside, and his hoodie or his Carhartt shirt or whatever. He's like, that is his vibe. Now, that being said, I think he is wearing like suits and ties.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
That's the key.
That's my gotcha. Because what did he do when he got elected?
But no, it's just arbitrary, though. A lot of it's just arbitrary. I mean, if you play golf at certain private clubs, even if it's 110 degrees outside, they mandate that you wear long pants instead of shorts.
Good.
And at some point, you got to look and say, why the fuck are we doing this?
It's a gentleman's game.
We want everybody to have
goddamn gentleman.
Game. Oh my god,
dude, the suit doesn't make you a gentleman. The suit doesn't make you a gentleman. To be a gentleman, you have to actually be a fucking gentleman. It's not gentlemanly to yell at people, be like, you're not dressed appropriately, get out of here. You're not of the proper status.
Decorum matters, people. It matters.
Well, no,
Listen, I would not care. Yes, you're right. Fetterman put on the suit when he got to the Senate. Do I care that he put on the suit? Not even a little bit.
I mean,
not
look,
at all.
So,
yeah.
Kyle, here's the test. Do you think a Senate where everyone's walking around in its Miller Time T-shirts is going to be a Senate that gives you what you want? No, I'm serious.
I know, I'm going to answer. I don't think that would ever happen. I think you guys are crazy to think, if we remove the rules, all of a sudden people will show up in fucking pajama pants and shit.
Okay.
I think what's more likely is people will start dressing like me, for example. They still put on a sport coat, but they have the button-down shirt on. Maybe a tie, maybe no tie. The idea, it's like, oh, it's chaos. Look at what they're wearing.
Right.
This guy's in a Halloween costume. It's not going to fucking happen.
Hear me out on this. Who is the only senator pushing for Medicare for All? Bernie Sanders. What does he wear? A suit. Who is the worst-dressed senator in the chamber?
Kirsten
That's
Sinema,
right.
Definitely.
Narcissist who wears a fucking sheep
I
coat.
could do whatever
Wait.
You
She
give Bernie the
dresses up,
option,
though.
and that tie is gone in an instant.
I
You
don't
would
think
dress
that's,
more like me.
I don't think that's true.
I do think that's true.
I think no. This is the thing. This is actually, yeah. Jim Jordan's a great example too. Like I think if you told Bernie, hey Bernie, you could show up in fucking sweatpants, he would still dress properly.
He would wear a suit.
But you're making my point for me. Like I think, he might take the tie off, but he wouldn't wear sweatpants, which shows the idea that these rules are like keeping them in place, and if you get rid of them, it's chaos. It's nonsense.
I am terrified of what Matt Gaetz would wear in the America. Dude, can you guys imagine the outfits in the Kyle's America?
But with Sinema, I mean, she's a hot mess, and her dress is like terrible, and she wears a sheep or whatever when she goes to Davos and hangs out with rich people. But
sheep.
she's dressing up. She's like meeting the arbitrary dress code.
Well, she barely.
Not that jean jacket.
That's
That
a
jean
whole other
jacket was not
conversation, whether
dressed
she's
appropriate.
actually dressed appropriately on the Senate floor. That said, I think we can now take the vote for the audience. So, should suits be mandatory? Yes, it's an all-encompassing question. If you agree, give us a cheer.
Jesus Christ.
Look at this!
Very pro-suit crowd. Damn.
This is called hearts and minds, people.
Every one of you motherfuckers cheering and not wearing a suit, get the fuck out right now.
That's not true. That's not true. God, I love you people. All right, so if you disagree and do not think they should be mandatory, give us a cheer. That's a tie. It's a tie. I'm going to call that 50-50.
Look what we have here.
I kind of agree, though. I really do think that was 50.
Somebody get a
pretty
decibel
close.
meter
It
out
was
on their
pretty
phone.
close.
I think that was pretty
Yeah.
even.
No, they won. It's all right. Okay. So that was the fun one. Should we go to the next one?
Yes, indeed.
As punishment for losing, first you put my slippers on.
Well, let me see those slippers. Oh, God, no.
They're solid. They're good. They're
Should
nice.
I tell the story about Ida?
Let's keep our shoes on this.
Oh, yeah. That's tell the story. Tell the story. Yeah.
So it's not just at live shows that Kyle wears these slippers. He wears them like everywhere, all the time. And our 5-year-old Ida, she's very girly. She pays a lot of attention to her clothes. She's always putting together these stylish outfits. And she was saying that she finds it embarrassing that Kyle wears. She confessed, she was like, he'll
Even the
wear them to the
5-year-olds know.
grocery store and everything. It's really embarrassing.
See?
And
Even the 5-year-olds
She
know.
didn't say it to me. She said it behind my back. And then it got to me through Crystal. And I was like, oh, man.
All right.
So anyway,
Last one.
Ida was on Sagar's team, apparently.
Yeah.
Ida's great. We love Ida. So, I'm sure you guys have seen the news. The balloon. It's over Montana. There's a lot of great memes about it here. So we thought we would have a debate here on the stage. Actually, we talked about this also with Joe Rogan. Should we shoot down the balloon? For those who don't know about the balloon, there was a Chinese spy balloon that was detected over Montana. They claimed that it had drifted off course. It happened to drift right towards one of the 3 nuclear missile bases that we have here in the United States. It happens.
What a coincidence.
Just normal. And then they admitted actually that they can control it. So how does it drift off course if you can control it? That's an interesting question. All right, so the spy balloon has been detected. President Biden says he wanted to shoot it down, but that the Pentagon claims that they were the ones who did not. Now, we picked this purely for fun, but Marshall has a very well thought out, well-reasoned argument for why we should shoot down the balloon. So I'm going to give all of my time over to this gentleman here.
Cede your
I actually-
Marshall.
I only
no,
have fun.
no.
My only response was, I was like, I think it'd be fun to just shoot down the balloon. I just want to see what happens. Yeah. What's going to come out? Somebody was like, maybe there's a bioweapon in there. I'm like, we'll find out. Let's try. Yeah.
You know, it's with foreign policy presidents, they'll have their quote, Bush has the Bush doctrine,
Yes.
Kennedy has his Kennedy stuff. President Engetti has, we'll find out.
Yeah.
His unifying foreign policy belief.
It'll be interesting.
It's one of those high-risk, high-reward approaches to foreign policy.
I want to know what's in the damn balloon. Is it a Hindenburg situation? Is it one of those things going to blow up? Like, does it just pop and fall on everybody? Like, how does this happen? How high up is the balloon?
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I saw a great tweet. This is related, but I saw a great tweet about something Joe Biden is good at, which is basically, in his very Joe Biden-y way, like ignoring or pushing aside culture war debates in the sense that someone's like, oh man, Jesse Signal was like, oh man, like how terrible would be DeSantis versus Biden on like culture war stuff. And someone's like, wait, Joe Biden's the guy when someone asked him, he said 3 genders and just moved on. Like he just knows he just knows how to push it aside. So like in the vein of this, I think if Biden's answer was we'll find out, I think it would work.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually now convinced that this is a charming answer. So now that I've delayed to come up with my actual position,
Give him the case.
Come on.
Shoot down the balloon.
Here's the actual case. The actual case is. No, I have to get serious. Okay, I'll get serious. I actually believe this.
Get serious.
There's a huge fight in the Biden administration right now between more hawkish people and folks who want to engage more with China. It's very contentious. It's a very hot debate. There are people like John Kerry who say, like, look, like my whole job here is to focus on climate change, and if we don't work with the Chinese, we will not solve global challenges, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are more hawkish people, type of people who are backing the policy with Taiwan, who are saying that we need to push back and be more aggressive. Like, this is the big debate. Recently, it's basically been announced that the Chinese have replaced most of their diplomats who are the most aggressive, the people who are called like wolf warriors. That was seen as a very helpful sign for people who are arguing that engagement and peace and calm were the way forward. By sending this balloon in the way that it was sent, they have actually made the people who were pro-engagement look like clowns. Like this is the actual discourse like in the administration right now. Like they have actively made folks who think that there's a calm way forward, think this could be reasoned out and discussed, like look like clowns. And I think it's important that that be pushed back on, like at a very serious level, and that be understood that there's a consequence for this style of behavior. And then my kind of not funny, but also true thing is a balloon's just silly. It's kind of like the most insulting thing to send over. It's at a baseline.
Send a fucking drone.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah, I agree.
Back in the Cold War, we had people in planes. That
He's
was
right.
something.
Yeah.
It's mockery.
Put a man in the damn balloon. All right, what do you guys got against an incredibly cogent, well thought out response?
Something about this story doesn't add up. Like when we were first talking about it, you were explaining it to me, Crystal, and I was like, wait, what? Like there's a Chinese spy balloon. It's this big old white balloon in the sky, and it literally has Chinese writing on it. It's like, it just seems like something that's so cartoonish because this government.
So are you going with false flag?
They have satellites, right? Like they could get the information from these nuclear facilities or wherever by using their satellites. I mean, the big debate about TikTok, right? People are saying, well, Chinese government's like harvesting everybody's data through TikTok. Like they have a million more sophisticated ways to get this stuff, and you're going to send a balloon that has Chinese writing on it.
That's a good point.
So I guess I'm just confused. So if I'm in the White House and they come to me and they're like, "What should we do, sir?" I'd be like, "Do about what? Like, what the fuck is happening? Give me more information."
Yeah. I mean, that is the weird thing. It's like this sort of weird shell game where we know they're spying on us. They know we're spying on them. We know they have these satellites that, like you said, could pick up at least as much data as the fucking balloon could about these, like about this base or whatever. But it is the fact that they sent this balloon. Like, you're not supposed to make it so fucking obvious, right? But, I mean, the idea of escalating and, like, risking some confrontation and pushing us closer to World War III over their fucking, like, balloon over Montana is... Sorry.
So
not for that one, Marshall.
I am
not
reminded, actually, of Trump during the Ukraine war, at the outbreak of the war, had a genius scheme. He said, what we should do is bomb Ukraine or bomb Russia and put Chinese letters on
He
the
did say
plane.
that.
And that way we get Russia and China to bomb each other.
What do you think?
So what if the Russians sent this balloon
Oh.
with the Chinese letters
Plot twist.
to get us to go to war with China
And leave them alone.
so we would stop supporting Ukraine?
Unironically, what is Alex Jones' take on this? Because I want to know. I really want to know. I might throw my lot in with him on this one.
Great question. Wait,
A special guest as Alex Jones walks on.
What is Kanye's take on this?
What is Kanye
Yeah, what's Kanye's take?
It's the Jews. That's
Let's put it to a vote.
Take.
Let's put it to a vote. Should we shoot down the balloon?
It even sounds funny. Like,
Find
let's
out.
shoot down the balloon.
We'll find out. Should we not shoot down the balloon? Oh, that's a clear win.
I will say,
I love you guys.
I will say though, it would be genuinely funny if they go and they do shoot down the balloon, and then it like releases a bioweapon, and then we all die because a bunch of idiots wanted to shoot down a fucking stupid balloon. That would be funny.
If you're watching The Last of Us, sometimes it works out okay.
Maybe that's the way the human race deserves to go on.
Hey, feels like it's right.